All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're mapping out one of the most valuable, most in-demand career paths in all of tech, multi-cloud mastery. If you want to be the one architecting the future of cloud computing, well, you've come to the right place. This is your roadmap.
So let's start with a big question. Why are we talking about this right now? Because the ability to manage multiple clouds isn't just a cool skill anymore. Nope. It's the key to a market that's projected to be worth almost $57 billion by 2030. That is a massive opportunity, and we're about to break down exactly how you can get your piece of it.
Okay, so let's get into it. Before we even touch the how, we've got to understand the why. Why are companies all over the world practically falling over themselves to find multi-cloud experts? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's all about strategic advantage.
At its heart, multi-cloud mastery is all about becoming fluent. It's about having the expertise to design applications that can run smoothly across the big three. That's AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, without getting trapped by any single one of them. You know, the goal is to build this incredibly tough vendor-agnostic infrastructure that lets you cherry-pick the absolute best, most powerful services from each provider.
And wow, this slide really just says it all, doesn't it? The market is set to absolutely explode. We're talking from about $14 billion in 2025 to nearly $57 billion by 2030. That's a growth rate of over 32% every single year. This isn't just some passing trend. It's a fundamental change in how businesses are going to operate from now on.
So what's fueling all this crazy growth? It really comes down to solving huge, expensive business problems. Companies are desperate to avoid vendor lock-in. They need systems that are super resilient, systems that can survive a huge outage on any one platform. And of course, it's about the money. Optimizing costs is key, especially with these expensive AI workloads. And for industries like finance and healthcare, it's all about lowering risk. Multi-cloud is the answer to all of it. Okay, so now that you get the why, let's move on to the fun part. It's time to build out your toolkit. We're talking about the core ideas and the specific platforms that you absolutely need to have in your arsenal. This table right here, this is basically your cheat sheet. When you hear people talk about infrastructure as code, your brain should immediately think Terraform. For container orchestration, the king is without a doubt Kubernetes. Automation, you're going to want to know Ansible. And for managing those complex cloud bills, a super important skill called FinOps, you'll be using tools like CloudHealth. Seriously, these are the names you want on your resume. And that brings us to the real heart of this whole thing, the roadmap itself. We've laid this out as a clear journey with a beginning, a middle, and an end, so you know exactly what steps to take and in what order.
Just think of it like leveling up in a game. First, as a beginner, you're just building that foundation. You're getting comfortable with the basics on all three major platforms. Then you hit the intermediate level, and that's when you start connecting the dots, focusing on integration and automation. And finally, at the advanced stage, you're a master. You're tackling complex architectures, deep security, and sophisticated cost strategies. It's a logical climb, and each stage builds right on top of the last one.
And to make this super clear, just look at the difference between a beginner project and an advanced one. Over on the left, a beginner might deploy a simple web app and then move it to another cloud. That's a fantastic way to learn. But look at the right. That's the pro level. They're designing a massive e-commerce platform that spans all three clouds, with automatic failover if one goes down. I mean, the complexity and the value to a business, it just skyrockets.
And as you make this climb, you're going to want to prove your skills with certifications. Think of it like checkpoints on a mountain. You start at the base camp with something foundational, like CompTIA Cloud Essentials Plus. Then you move up to the associate level, maybe specializing with the Terraform Associate Cert. And finally, you reach the summit with a pro-level cert, like the AWS Solutions Architect, which basically tells the world you've achieved true mastery. Now, being a technical wizard is one thing. That's awesome. But to truly become a multi-cloud master, there's an X factor. We've got to talk about the skills that go way beyond just the code and the command line.
So here's the deal, and this is so important. The tech is just one piece of the puzzle. You have to be an expert problem solver, because trust me, getting different clouds to play nice together is not always easy. You also have to be a great collaborator, someone who can get the dev team, the security team, and the finance people all on the same page. And finally, you have to be a strategist, someone who can see the big picture and make the right calls on cost, scale, and vendors.
I just love this quote. It hits the nail on the head, right? Your technical skills, yeah, they let you build the bridge between all these different clouds. But it's your strategic thinking that decides where that bridge needs to go, and maybe more importantly, why you're even building it in the first place. That's the real difference between just being an engineer and being a true architect. So there you have it, the opportunity, the toolkit, and the step-by-step roadmap to take you from beginner to expert. We've laid out the entire path to mastering a skill that is literally shaping the future of technology. The only question left is, where will your journey begin?